Action. All right, welcome back to another episode of What's the Vibe with Katie and Amy. We're bringing the spooky vibes today. We have our little spooky pumpkin there in the middle.
We're in October.
We sure are. So there's no messing around like there was last week. We're going to get straight to the point. What is the vibe?
All right. My vibes this week are knowing your limits.
Okay.
My vibe is safety first.
Okay.
This family should have known that. And my vibe is adoption.
Adoption?
Adoption.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you all about Travis, who was adopted by a family. But one catch. Travis is a chimpanzee.
Okay, we're bringing the monkey vibes again.
So
oh wait, last week it was a bear. Never mind.
I'm doing the monkey thing, but I just want to show you a picture
Chimpanzee
of an infant chimpanzee, so
Okay.
you can get the visual of bringing this little guy home.
Aww.
He's cute,
I mean, he is cute. You know, Jake would never let me bring him home.
as he should not, as I'm about to tell you.
But
Have you ever heard about Travis the chimpanzee?
I don't think so.
So I heard about this Travis when the event that I'm about to tell you about happened back when. I think it was 2009 maybe. But Katie, when I heard about it, it was one of those things that I heard just enough to be freaked all the way out
Okay.
to the point, and I like true crime. But I was like, oh, blah, 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 blah.
Really?
Yeah, it was so bad.
And now you're telling it?
And I'm like, I'm just going to research it and see if I can stand it.
Should I know it?
You should. It was pretty big news.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you about it today, and I'm going to make it as least graphic as I can.
Okay.
Okay, so before I can tell you about Travis, I need to tell you about his adoptive family.
Okay.
His mother, Sandra Harold, was born in 1938. She was an only child, and she grew up with lots of animals. And Sandra's parents owned a bakery, and she had had a failed marriage right out of high school. But she remarried later on, and she had a daughter, Suzanne. Suzanne was born in 1961, but that marriage also ended after 4 years.
Okay.
So her third marriage, she married a man named Jerry Harold when she was 30 years old. And this was the one.
This is it.
This is the one. Gary and Sandy first they lived with, I don't know, Jerry.
I was going to say a second ago his name was Jerry. Now it's Gary, but let's roll with it. Change his name a second to Harry.
Dang it. The Herald started a very successful towing business, which was huge because when they first were together, they lived with Sandy's parents.
Oh.
So to see them kind of start their own business, yeah. This towing business was so successful that it made them millionaires.
What?
We are one business idea away. I feel like I have said that before.
You have.
And it's the truth.
Should we be towers?
Um,
I don't know if that's the right word to use.
What if we did like a spoof, like where we just go around and rub toes?
Ew, no. Ugh.
I could never.
No.
I could never. I just like close your eyes and I bring my dog in.
Ew, gross.
Okay.
Also, thank you.
My poor dog. Okay, so anyway, they're millionaires now.
Okay.
And then they got into horse racing for some reason. And it's something that they really, really enjoyed. And they'd travel and kind of follow these horse races around.
Interesting.
Rich people hobbies, I guess. We'll find out someday. And so at one of these horse racing events, she meets a woman named Charla Nash. So Charla was only 18, so she was younger than the Herolds, but Charla and Sandy, they hit it off and they became great friends.
Relatable.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It doesn't matter the age. Sometimes it's just like that connection. And these two had it. And they were truly good friends to each other. I'll tell you more about that as we go. At one of the horse racing events, they both witnessed a chimpanzee riding a horse. And I have a picture just so you can have the visual of what that might look like.
Pretty much what you picture it.
Yeah, it's a monkey on a horse.
Yeah.
So by this time, Sandy's daughter is grown, and she worked at the towing company with them for a little while. While at work, she fell in love with one of their employees and moved away from Sandy.
Aww.
I know. Around that exact time, both of Sandy's parents died.
Oh, man.
So she's experiencing empty nest syndrome.
Just lost kind of all around.
And then her parents, who she obviously was close to, she lived with them off and on in her adult years. So that's a little bit about Sandy and her life. So now enter Travis the chimpanzee.
Okay.
Travis was born in October of 1995. So he would have been about your age.
He would be 2 years older, or 1 year older than me.
Yeah. To get baby Travis away from his mother, the breeder had to tranquilize
her neat.
And basically go in and steal baby Travis away from the mother.
You're talking to someone who thinks it's mean to separate the kittens from the mom
I
cat.
know.
Even though I know that's a perfectly normal, that's what you do. But to tranquilize?
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
Sandy paid $50,000 in 1995 money.
Damn.
For baby Travis, who she named after her favorite country singer,
I'm dead.
Travis Tritt. That's why I was listening to Here's a Quarter, Call Someone Who Cares. Okay. So I'm just going to tell you some facts right now about chimpanzees that I got from National Geographic for Kids.
Oh, yes! It's so fun!
So, chimpanzees are one of our planet's great apes, along with gorillas and orangutans. They have long arms that extend below their knees, short legs, and black hair covering almost their entire body. Their faces are flat with big eyes, a small nose, and a wide mouth. These amazing animals live in the tropical forests and woodland savannas of West and Central Africa. Today, populations are fragmented, with the largest groups found in the Dominican of Congo and Cameroon. Did you know the DNA of chimps and humans is 98.5% the same?
Wow, I didn't know. Obviously, I know evolution. You know, they all say we started from monkeys.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that close.
Yeah, it says, this is all verbatim from the National Geographic for Kids. That's how closely related we are. As a result, we share many similar features, such as expressive faces, big toes, and hands that can grasp. We also show similar behaviors, and like us, chimps laugh when playing, hug to show affection, and are able to walk upright.
That is sweet.
Oh, I got more. I know. Isn't that cute?
It is cute, yes.
In the wild, chimpanzees live in communities made up of around 15 to 80 members. They're led by dominant alpha male. Within the communities, chimps sleep, travel, and feed in smaller subgroups of up to 10. It's like going home to your family.
Right.
These subgroups can be very flexible, with members changing quickly and regularly. After humans, chimpanzees are the most intelligent of our planet's primates, an animal group which includes apes and monkeys too, and they've developed impressive ways of communicating. These clever critters talk to each other using different gestures, facial expressions, and numerous vocalizations too, such as hoots, grunts, and screams. Chimpanzees are experts at grooming and spend a lot of their time running their fingers through each other's hair to remove dirt, pesky parasites, and dead skin.
Ew.
Well, it might sound a bit gross to us, but grooming is a super important activity for these cool critters. if not only keeps them clean, but helps them build friendships and strengthens bonds with each other.
Aww.
When it comes to food, chimpanzees aren't exactly fussy. Fruits is at the top of their menu, but they also tuck into leaves, flowers, seeds, bird eggs, insects, and even other animals too, such as monkeys and wild pigs. Some groups of chimps eat up to 200 different kinds of foods.
Wow.
Yes, lots of fun facts here about the old chimpanzee. Females generally give birth to a single chimp, or occasionally twins, every 5 to 6 years. For the first 6 months, the baby chimpanzee clings to the fur of its mother's belly, then later rides around on her back until the age of 2.
2?
After that, the youngster will spend the next 7 to 10 years by its mother's side, learning how to find food, use tools, and build nests to sleep in. So in the wild, they've said that a chimp's young will stay with it up to 13 years. And then here this little baby got stolen at 3 days old.
And we're not accustomed to teaching children in that way. Carrying them on our backs and having them at our side 24/7 for 13 years.
Gosh.
So that's not really fair.
Some of us are.
Some of us are not.
So imagine Sandy and Jerry. Is he Jerry or Gary? Because now I'm doubting myself.
I'm waiting for you to call him Harry.
I know.
I think his name is pronounced Sean.
Sean Connery. Imagine them and their little baby Travis for the next few years. I'm going to describe it to you.
Okay.
They would bottle feed. They would put diapers on him. They taught him to walk.
Really?
They taught him to use house keys.
Okay.
They taught him to start the lawnmower.
These are dangerous tasks that they're teaching.
These animals are so smart.
Then teach him how to write his name and use the bathroom and take a shower and not start a lawnmower.
Yes. They took him out to eat at restaurants.
What?
He was well known and well loved in their community.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that would be no quiet. Do these people have a pet or do they not?
They have a pet.
They know.
Well, and don't forget they're millionaires.
Yes.
So this is a spoiled chimpanzee.
Yes, very true.
When he went out to the restaurant, he would order, I don't know that he would do it himself.
I was like, come again.
But his favorite food, filet mignon.
Oh, my favorite food, filet mignon. What?
I want the Sandy, Jerry, or Gary to adopt me.
Right.
He learned to listen or kind of the schedule of the ice cream man.
Aww.
I know.
That's cute.
And Sandy would give him money and he'd run out and get his ice cream.
Wait. The ice cream man probably knew him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It was like, oh, here comes Travis. Better get his SpongeBob ice cream cone ready for him.
He was, like I said, very well known. The police would come by and they knew who Travis was. And one of his favorite things to do would be basically go for rides with the police officers in town.
Okay.
So, I mean, I can picture, like, if we had something cool like that in town. One time I saw a lady walking a giant pig around, and I circled the block just so I could look at it again, but let alone a chimpanzee.
I mean, yeah, that would be very cool, and everybody would be.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, okay.
And he was like I don't know if it was the official or unofficial, but he was the mascot for their towing business. His picture was like painted on the side of the truck. He would ride along for pickup sometimes. He would go to work with them, both at their house and at their shop. They had built like a swing and a tire swing and toys for their child, a playground for their child. So, yeah, he was a spoiled, rotten little rascal.
I have a question. Why didn't they just have a second child? You know what I mean? I mean, I guess
I've never read why. I don't know.
I guess the fun in it It's different. If you have a monkey, I mean, I know it's a different fun that we have a bird.
Right.
Instead of a dog, you know, so.
But it's also like I feel like the same level of commitment when you're changing
They're literally doing everything that they would do with a baby.
Yeah. That she was 30 when they got married, but
okay.
I mean, I had my last child at 28. It's definitely doable.
Right. Interesting. Okay.
I don't know.
Just a question.
As Travis got older, Jerry would even have a glass of wine with him in the evening. He loved wine. Travis did.
Okay. Did he, I assume, would then feel the effects of the wine if he's got a 90?
He wasn't allowed to drive after.
Okay. That, you answered my question.
That makes you feel better. He had to stay in after that. So Sandy's daughter, Susie moved back to the area for a little while, and she brought her son and Sandy's grandson Tyler with her, and Tyler and Travis would wrestle around and play, and like everything was great.
Okay.
Their friend from the rodeo, Charla, moved back to the area too, or came by. And she met Travis, and she had her newborn baby with her. Oh. And Travis held the baby. What? And they took pictures. And I mean.
Held the baby?
Yes.
I understand that. I mean, we're both practically monkeys sitting here at this table right now with a lot less hair.
Yes.
And the ability to speak more clearly.
Some days.
Thank you. But. Hold a baby, a monkey, a wild. I know he's not wild, but an animal. What?
And Charlie wasn't the only one. All around town, people would stop and take pictures with Travis and let him hold their child and take a picture. And
you want to be held by Travis? Okay.
And Travis liked little kids, so
okay,
yeah. When Travis was a little over 5, Sandy's daughter Sue had come back for a visit, and when she was driving back home to where she was currently living, she was in a fatal car accident.
Oh.
With one of her children. The child ended up living, but Sandy's daughter passed. Yeah. And so that was a really hard time, as you can imagine, for Sandy.
You better not say she got another monkey.
No, she didn't. She just had Travis. As time passes, Travis gets fat. I just decided to throw that in.
As we all do. Right there with you, buddy.
So he's weighing, at this time, over 200 pounds. And not only was he fat, but he was horny.
Oh, he's going through puberty.
Yes. In the wild, here's a fun fact.
Oh, how fun it actually is.
Fun fact. In the wild, chimpanzees have sex as much as 50 times a day.
Ew.
Ugh.
Ew. But they only have babies once every 5 years or so? Or twins?
That's the women, okay? We don't know what's going on in the chimpanzee world.
You're right, we don't.
I didn't ask any questions.
Interesting.
So
Ew.
Sandy and her husband both start to realize that he's a lot to handle in public, because he does have a few instances where he acts out. Like one time Charla is walking away from him and he grabs a chunk of her hair and pulls it out.
Okay.
And like scalps her a little bit. And she even kind of is complaining to Sandy about it, like, hey, he really hurt me. Mm-hmm. She just kind of blows it off. Like, well, he didn't mean to.
Right.
And then another time they were in traffic and these kids were going by and they threw a water bottle and it went in through their window and hit Travis. Oh. And he can open the door.
Right.
So he got out and was like running after him, like not to hurt them per se. But when people saw him running, they
just scold.
Give him a talking to about littering.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I know. So then people are cheering because he's out running around, and that amps him up because he is a freaking animal. And so he's jumping on hoods and he's like grabbing car handles and stuff.
His chest.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
I mean, though, kind of like we said, if he is going through puberty and if he's that closely related to humans, it's not just puberty. I mean, he's having hormone changes that he's got to learn to grow with.
And in the wild, they're able to kind of burn off some of that energy. They can run around, they can climb trees. And even though he has this jungle gym, basically, he spends a lot of his time watching TV, playing computer games. That's what it says.
Just picturing him playing Tetris
or
Bejeweled or something.
And eating.
Yeah.
Because I think it said what did I say they're supposed to weigh? But anyway, he was over that.
Yeah, you said 200 to 700 pounds?
No.
Oh.
That was
Grizzly Bears. Just forget it.
That was the Bears. The Bears.
At least you know I was paying attention.
Yeah, thank you. So they start to realize he's a lot, and they're keeping him at home more, which just keeps him more kind of amped up. So crazy side note, one day Sandy gets a call and she's informed that Travis's parents, so the mom was always kind of raised in a sanctuary, they call it, but his dad was chimpanzee napped, I guess, from the wild and brought over. They both escaped their sanctuary.
Oh.
And had people pinned in their car and ended up both being shot and killed.
Aww.
So, I mean, that should have been a red flag.
I mean, I don't really feel like they're allowed to call themselves a sanctuary. I believe that is a term for like a safe place.
We can start calling prisons sanctuaries now.
Because if you are breeding and then tranquilizing and then
stealing their young,
chimpanzee napping,
yes,
that's not a safe place.
No.
Okay.
So Travis already has a lot going on.
Yeah, he's very upset about his parents.
He doesn't know. They didn't say that your biological parents are gone.
Your real mom and dad.
You're not my real mom.
Sorry.
Okay, so sorry. In March of 2005, Gary, I don't know, I wrote it different every freaking time, is having a lot of health issues. And he's taken to the hospital and admitted. And the tests come back and he has cancer.
Aww.
So he really doesn't even end up leaving the hospital. Spoiler alert. But Sandy tried to be with him as much as she could, but also she has a 200-pound chimpanzee to take care of.
Right.
This was hard on Travis because he's supposed to be having wine with Dad in the evenings, and Dad's not coming home.
Oh, that is hard.
Jerry would call, and Sandy would try to let Travis talk to him on the phone, but that didn't make sense to him
he would
either.
Probably just be confused.
Yes, he was. So Sandy's husband, probably knowing I'm not going to make it through this, says to Sandy, I think you need to find a sanctuary for Travis.
Yeah.
This is going to be too much for just you to handle. But sadly, that isn't what happens. Her husband does pass, and both Sandy and Travis are very depressed. Sandy, within a very short time frame, has lost her daughter, both of her parents, and now her husband.
Yeah.
Around that same time frame, her friend Charla from the rodeo and her very young daughter moved back to the area, and they've kind of fallen on hard times.
Okay.
And they're staying at a homeless shelter, actually.
Oh, wow.
But much like you or I, that's not going to stand for any friend of ours.
That's right.
Sandy said, I have an apartment at the shop, and we'll get that cleaned up, and you guys can have your own space. And then she also gets her a job at her tow shop. So she's helping get her back on her feet. That's a good friend, right?
It is, yeah.
So by now, Travis was 13 years old, 240 pounds of overweight chimpanzee, and 5 feet tall.
Like looking in a mirror.
Same! Just get a little bit more hair. I mean, great.
Right.
So I'm going to tell you about February 16th, 2009. Sandy and Charla had just gotten back from a girls' trip.
Okay.
Sandy's treat. She took it. She had taken Charlotte to get her hair done, so her hair was different. And they had, I thought I said where they went. For some reason, I think they went to a casino.
I think that sounds like fun.
That would be fun for us. Like I say, we do that. On the afternoon that they get back, Travis is just extra agitated.
Okay.
He's gone around the house. He's turned on all 3 of the TVs, but isn't watching any of them. He's just kind of being a nuisance. So Sandy gives him a Xanax to help kind of like calm his nerves. Well, then he goes outside, lets him, because he can use keys, he can use the door.
He's going to mow.
He's going to go out. I wish.
Right.
He goes outside and he's just kind of jumping, I guess, in between her cars. And that's his usual way of asking to go for a ride.
Oh, okay.
But Sandy wasn't having it. She's just trying to get him back in the house. So she calls her friend Charla and says, Travis is being extra rowdy. Can you come over here and help me get him under control?
You said rowdy and I wanted to.
I'm going to catchphrase.
Okay.
So Charla says, yeah, of course I'll come help you. And she grabs a Tickle Me Elmo. And she heads over to Sandy's house.
I had a Tickle Me Elmo.
Aw.
I did.
You did. They were cute. I can remember them. She gets out of the car and she's holding the Tickle Me Elmo about like this in front of her face.
Okay.
Travis can't see her. She has a different hairdo. And he immediately charges her, Katie. Mm-hmm. She tries to tell him, it's me, but it's too late. It's happened too fast.
He's like blind.
Yes. He brutally attacks her. I'm not going to go into a lot of the details. It's terrible. Yes. I do have to say a few things, though, just to kind of...
I mean, I do know a little bit. I don't know a whole lot, but...
Sandy comes out of the house and grabs a shovel and hits him in the back to try to like get his attention to get him off of her. Yeah. Imagine too, this is like hitting your own child with a shovel.
Your own grown adult child, because that monkey, Travis, is, you said 240
pounds
and 5 feet tall. So this is the size of a grown adult.
And they have the strength of like 5 men.
Yeah.
It doesn't faze him. So she goes in the house and gets a butcher knife because she can see already how bad this is.
Yes.
Her friend is covered in blood.
Oh, man.
And she stabs him in the back several times and still.
That's so sad.
It's so sad. She finally calls 911 and you can find a recording of the 911 call online. I didn't even listen to it because I
probably won't put it in.
No. But on the call, she's already telling police, you bring a loaded weapon.
Right.
That's what it's going to take.
That's so sad. That would be so hard.
So sad. During this attack, Charlotte does live, but never the same. Never the same. He had peeled and ripped her skin off and was eating it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She lost all of her face. Her eyelids, her face, her jaw had to be reconstructed. She had lost both of her hands.
Oh, man.
I read 2 different reports. One said that he had pulled her eyes out and eaten them.
What?
But one said due to an infection, but she did lose both of her eyes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
gosh. Terrible. A little bit of the bright side. She did eventually get a face and hand transplant surgery. The face transplant was successful. She does look 100% better.
Yes.
I can't even look at the pictures before that. The hands, though, were rejected. And so she's hoping to maybe someday get another surgery for that. On May 24th of 2010, so a little, it's 15 months later.
Okay.
Sandra Harold died suddenly.
What?
of a ruptured aortic aneurysm at the age of 72.
I don't think you had said this, but Travis, after the attack.
The police show up. They do shoot him.
Yeah.
I think a few times. He still doesn't die right away. He turns around, runs back into the house, goes to his bedroom, and dies on his bed.
So now she has lost pretty much
Everyone.
her friend, her daughter, her husband, her parents, her Travis.
Yeah. This is what her attorney had to say. Her attorney, Robert Golger, released the following statement. Mrs. Harold had suffered a series of heartbreaking losses over the last several years, beginning with the death of her first and only daughter, who was killed in a car accident, then her husband, then her beloved chimp Travis, as well as the tragic maiming of friend and employee Charla Nash. In the end, her heart, which had been broken so many times before, could take no more.
That's sad.
In March 2009, Charla Nash's family attorney filed a $50 million lawsuit against Sandra Harold.
Wow.
On May 6th, a Stanford judge froze Harold's assets valued at $10 million.
After she had passed?
She filed it before.
Okay.
But she had died not long because she died in May of 2010. The lawsuit was filed in March of 2009.
Okay.
November of 2012, so 3 years later, Nash reached a settlement with Harold's estate and received approximately $4 million. But she also had brain damage from this and had to go into a long-term care facility. And she has a daughter.
Yeah.
So just the tragic tale of Travis the chimp and why you should not have an animal you cannot take, which reminds me, when I was doing the research of this story, I thought, wouldn't it be fun to see what I could buy? And so I went to Exotic Pet Finder. For $5,000, I could get a kangaroo.
What?
I could get
kangaroo. That thing would take you down.
Remember, I always said I don't want to fight a kangaroo. But yeah, they had kangaroos for sale. They had all these different kinds of exotic monkeys, ring-tailed lemurs, porcupines. I mean, basically, you name it. Oh, you know those cats that are like not like a panther, but they're like a panther?
Yes.
They're smaller versions.
Mm-hmm.
You could buy one of those. I mean, you can still get exotic pets if you want to look for one hard enough.
I know we talked about it back in one of our previous episodes about different pets, and that my grandma had monkeys when she was growing up, but they were not monkeys. Like, they weren't chimps.
No. How many monkeys did your grandma own?
2, I think. But I don't know what kind of monkeys they were, but they were small enough to easily have been taken out.
To subdue if you needed to.
I don't know that they would be strong enough to do anything like Travis did, but it's not fair to Charla, and it's not fair to Travis.
Oh my God.
Or to Travis's real mom and dad.
I know. It just seems really cruel.
Yes.
Really cruel.
I feel like people think just because you have the money, you can.
Yes.
Clearly with the submersible, with Travis, like, just because you have the money, it does not mean you should.
No. Think of all the good she could have done with that $50,000.
Right. And that would have not probably even put in a dent into
not to
her
mention
money.
the $4 million that she lost.
Right.
I mean, she was already passed, but still.
Yeah.
She had grandchildren that probably could have benefited from that money. She might have left some of it to her friend Charla, but I bet they weren't friends after that.
No, probably not. That was a really good story.
I hope your vibe's a little bit perkier than that one.
I don't know that I would say perky, but it's different.
Okay, well, what is it? What's your vibe?
My vibe today is mysteries.
Okay.
Conspiracy theories. Rain.
Okay.
In the 90s.
Okay. Nirvana.
How'd you know?
Nuh-uh.
No, I'm just kidding. So I'm going to set the scene for you like I try to do.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Oakville, Washington?
No.
Picture it. You've never heard of it, but go ahead and try your best. What do you know about Washington?
I picture heavily wooded. I picture gloomy.
Yes.
I picture werewolves and vampires.
I have a bullet point that says it's giving Twilight.
Yes.
So you're enjoying the rain?
Yes.
Okay. So Oakville, Washington, 1994. It is giving Twilight.
Mm-hmm. Picture.
If you don't know what Twilight is, comment below.
we'll tell you about it next week.
Yeah. So the residents of Oakville, Washington are accustomed to a ton of rain. They get about 54 inches of rain a year. And I looked it up to see how it compared to Indiana. We get about 40.
Oh.
But I've heard that, I think, what is it? 1/10 of an inch of rain is like an inch of snow. So if they're getting 14 more inches than we are,
okay,
that
fair.
is a ton if you're looking at it in that
lens.
way. Yeah.
Through that lens.
It equates to about 149 days. So half of their year is just doom and gloom.
Can you imagine what our hair would look like all the time?
Mine would be so poofy.
Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
So frizzy. And they're about an hour from the beach. Okay, from the ocean.
Which, who cares if it's constantly wet sand?
You're not wrong. But you'll understand why I tell you that.
Okay.
So something mysterious has happened in Oakville, Washington, on the evening or the morning of August 7th, 1994. So it was about 3 a.m. when it started raining. And people woke up and noticed that the rain this year was different. One person, Officer David Lacey, was on patrol when it started raining. And when I tell you this rain was not rain, but mysterious gelatinous blobs.
What?
This is a true story that fell from the sky. And
Okay.
he said he turned on his wipers because he assumed it looked like rain. It was clear. But instead of it just wiping off, it smeared.
What the hell?
So he pulled over to a gas station, took out a pair of gloves, and was like touching it, like to see and clean off his windshield. And he said if you had it in your hand, you could just squeeze it and it would be like Jell-O.
What?
You've never heard of this?
No.
So, yeah, everybody was confused. These gelatinous blobs would coat everything in sight over a 20 square mile area.
What?
This happened 6 times over a total of 3 weeks. I can't believe you've never heard of this.
Never. I'm dying to know what this is.
You and me both.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh.
Another resident, Dottie Hearn, noticed the blobs when she went outside in the morning. I'm going to keep saying blobs. Sometimes kind of like Gary and Jerry and Barry. Sometimes I put blobs. Sometimes I put globs. So you get what you get.
I'm glad we were both on the same research path this week. Oh, sounds good. It rhymes.
Right. So Dottie went out that morning and thought it was hailing. Thought there was hail, like sprinkled all over her ground.
Do you have a picture of what this looked like? Because I'm looking at our vehicles right now. What would it look like? Like just snot blobs on our cars? Ew.
Just like clear.
Oh.
I'm going to show you a picture.
Okay. That will help me continue.
Like this.
Huh.
Yeah.
Is that Magnify? Mysterious Oakville blob.
A lot of people, for our listeners, describe it to look like the stuff out of a diaper. Like when it gets wet.
That is a perfect description.
So I don't know if that's zoomed in or not. But
but I have seen that come out of a diaper before.
Yeah. So something strange started happening. More strange than gelatinous globs falling from the sky.
Okay, I can't wait.
As the hours passed after this quote-unquote rainfall, people were becoming ill.
Oh.
Residents of Oakville were getting sick. They were described as having difficulty breathing, vertigo, blurry vision, and nausea.
That's terrifying.
Another resident said that it seemed like kind of like the flu, but it would last for 2 or 3 months for some people.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Pets, if your cat or your dog went outside, most of them were becoming ill and then dying.
Oh my gosh. So now, I mean, not to be morbid, but now you've got a dead animal that you would want to go out and bury. But now you've got to fight these gelatinous blobs.
It sounds like a Sharknado movie.
It sounds horrifying.
Like a sci-fi film. What? Dottie, the hail she thought was all over her yard, became so sick that she ended up going to the hospital. Her daughter found her sprawled on her bathroom floor, barely conscious.
Oh my gosh.
And very weak. She was in there for 3 days. The only thing they could diagnose was a severe inner ear infection. So what are these globs?
Tell me, I'd love to know.
When Dottie was in the hospital, her daughter collected some of these
blobs.
Yes. And took them to the hospital and said, here, like, I think this is what's making people sick. Indirect quote.
Finally.
Yeah, we haven't had one at all this episode or last week.
Yeah.
We were too busy with Sean Connery. And
even when I was rehearsing my story, I had a few I was going to incorporate and forgot. So yes, hit me with an indirect quote. Here's a blob. Sean Connery. I want this analyzed.
Oh, thank you. That was very good, Sean.
I take the blob. Are you serious? Damn it, I lost it.
So she took the sample of the glob to the hospital and indirectly quoted her. As saying, I think this is what's making people sick. Please test it.
Yeah.
How are they going to test it? What test are they going to run on this?
Man, I just picture a microscope and a petri dish. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever they do. Remember science class where you had to look through the little thing?
Yes.
Do that.
So a lab tech, I assume did that, and found that these globs. I think I like the word blob better.
I like blob.
They both can make me grossed out, but
it looks like something like that comes out of your chest.
Yes.
It's gross.
They found that they contained human white blood cells.
Stop it right now. What?
And if you don't know what a human white blood cell does, it is the cells that our bodies use to fight off infection. So these globs are falling from the sky. People are getting sick. What is happening in Oakville, Washington in 1994?
Who lived there? Who?
I mean, I think it was Robert Pattinson and Taylor Lautner.
I mean, doesn't it feel like, I don't know, I want to go real deep conspiracy theory on this and be like, there was somebody there they wanted to get rid of. So they were like, you know what'll do it? White blood cells from the sky.
But if they contain white blood cells that are used to prevent infection. You know what I mean?
Are causing infection. I
Yeah.
don't know, but I'm picturing like if they pull out your white blood cells
Mhm.
and then just throw them randomly in the air.
I want to know whose blood cells they were using.
Right. Can we not get DNA?
So they, other than that, they couldn't find any other information. So no DNA was in the glob blobs. They couldn't tell.
I feel like you're making this all
I
up.
swear I'm not.
I'm going to Google this later. Let me find out. She just was like, I don't want to do any research.
No, I swear I'm not making this up.
And then her husband was like, glob glob. And she was like, I can work with that. I can work with that.
I'll do something with it. I need something that sounds totally made up. I should have included this on the fake news episode.
Yes, this is crazy.
So the hospital then took that sample and sent it to the Washington State Department of Health.
Okay.
And a microbiologist then starts digging through the glob blobs.
He's like, I'm going to get up at night.
Yes. He determined that the glob blobs came from 2 species of bacteria,
Okay.
one of which lives in the human digestive system.
What in the hell?
I swear I'm not making this up.
She almost confessed. She almost
I
confessed.
did not.
Okay, so one of the parts of this mysterious blob
Mm-hmm.
comes from the
Human digestive system. It has 2 bacteria. One is from the human digestive system.
Okay, this is weird.
So then these theories, people are trying to make sense of this. Initially, because they said it's coming from the digestive tract, people thought that airplanes, when they were flying over, they were releasing any waste that they had.
Okay, that's a great theory.
That seems possible. The Federal Aviation Administration denied the theory. They said that they require the waste in planes to be dyed blue.
Mm.
So these glob blobs were clear; they weren't blue. So they could
Try again. We didn't shit on you. That's an us.
Also, this rainfall that happened with the glob blobs happened over. What do you want me to call them?
I don't know.
I don't either.
For me, it was just the seriousness of this rainfall that happened with the glob blob. These people got sick. Okay.
It happened. I said it started at like 3 a.m. So it was nighttime.
Oh, yeah.
And the Aviation Administration forbids pilots from releasing what they call the blue ice.
Next time I have to go to the bathroom at work. Katie, I've got to go release the blue ice. Okay, the blue ice.
They only release it during the daytime. It's forbidden to do that at night.
Okay.
I didn't.
I just assumed they dumped it somewhere, like in
when
a
the plane
tank.
was landing.
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't think they just dropped it on the earth. I mean,
New fear unlocked.
right. Okay. So now it's been a year.
Okay, it's not still happening.
It's not still
Okay.
happening. It just happened those 6 times over 3 weeks.
Okay.
But Dottie kept some more of those glob blobs
Good for her.
and put them in her freezer.
Saving them for a rainy day.
Yes. She decided that she was going to mail a sample to a private research lab. I mean, that's
I love
pretty
it.
smart.
She's a crime fiend like I am.
Yeah. So a microbiologist at Amtest Laboratories believed he saw a eukaryotic cell. That probably isn't how you say it.
What's going on here?
Basically, in layman terms, it is a cell in the globlobs that show life.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right. Because then I start to taste them. I say,
So now we've got bacteria from the digestive tract of humans. We've got white blood cells that fight infections. And now we have life in these globlobs.
What in the world?
So now there is a new theory. They're an hour from the ocean. There is military naval bombings, like testing, or like that's how they're training people that are doing runs at sea. And people think that they have destroyed a school of jellyfish and sent them flying in the air.
That seems plausible to me.
That seems plausible to me too. But did they fly 50 miles inland? Did they go, was a bomb that powerful, to 6 times in 3 weeks?
Yeah. And I'm no globologist.
Yes. Please.
But couldn't you, because where rain comes from, right? It's like moisture that's like absorbed.
Please tell me.
So the way rain works is
Meteorologist Amy.
meteorologist Dan McLean, or whatever his name. Do you remember
Chad
that?
Evans.
Chad Evans. But I thought it was from moisture that rises, and then it gets up there in the clouds, and then when they get really full, then it releases.
Yeah.
So couldn't something similar happen, like poof, the jellyfish? They're in a million pieces. They're getting absorbed, and then they're moving with the clouds, and then it gets full, and then it's released, and you get smacked in the car with a jellyfish.
I do like where your head is at. I'm no glob blob or micro jellyfishologist.
I just played one on TV.
But I would think that the molecules in jellyfish would be too heavy.
Right, yeah. Especially because those chunks were pretty good size.
Right. And people were also saying no because there was no smell. Wouldn't you think there would be a smell? Do jellyfish smell?
I don't know. I think I've seen a jellyfish before.
Really? Like in person? I almost said on land.
No, at the beach.
Okay.
Not
like in a picture or a video.
On the beach.
Okay.
Because they look like a condom. They look like a used condom. Because I remember walking down the beach. I was with Josiah. And I was like, oh my God, somebody. And then I was like, wait, no, that's a creature.
Okay.
And they look almost see-through.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen a condom?
Jellyfish, I'm dead.
A used one? But they're like floppy. And they're kind of clear. That's what it looked like to me. I did not smell anything fishy, but again, I was at least 4 feet away because I was standing up, and I was at the ocean. The ocean kind of has a smell.
It does.
So, but you would think so would Washington, just being that close to the ocean.
Right. So, the Air Force, maybe it was the Navy, I don't know.
Some branch of the military.
Confirmed that they were doing practice bombings.
Okay.
But they denied the fact that they could possibly get jellyfish that far and tear them into bits, and they said no. Some other residents of Oakville thought, kind of like you said earlier, the city of Oakville, or the town, was a military experiment designed to test a biological weapon attack.
Yeah.
To see, could we drop these bombs?
Because this was 1993 or 4.
94.
We're learning more stuff now. Like, I'm just now starting to accept that 2011 was known about in advance. And call me a conspiracy theory. Oh, I'll tell you later then. But branches of our military knew that the Twin Towers were going to be hit. Is what I'm saying. So it's not that far off.
You said 2011. 2001?
2001.
Okay.
2001. So it's not that far off. I was thinking 9/11 and then I said 2001. Not that far off to think they would never do something like that to a town in Washington.
Oh, I think our government is absolutely crazy if they would do anything to anybody.
So that's a very viable theory to me as well.
Yeah. One last theory, because to this day, again, it's never fell, and there has been no confirmed this is what has happened. But other people have suggested maybe it is star jelly. Have you ever heard of star jelly? Go ahead. Give your best guess for the people.
Star jelly? No.
I usually like to eat it with peanut butter.
Was it like moon peanut butter?
Yeah, no.
Huh.
So star jelly is a gelatinous substance that's sometimes found on grass and tree branches. According to folklore, it's deposited on Earth during meteor showers. They say that it evaporates shortly after falling, and it has been observed several times since 1641, but could possibly have gone back even further. Another theory, because nobody knows exactly what star jelly is, they've just kind of seen it and given it a name, say that star jelly may be the regurgitated innards of amphibians, such as frogs and toads.
Gross.
Agreed.
How many frogs had to vomit?
All over on people's cars. And kind of like you just said, the only problem is they've never seen star jelly falling from the sky. I imagine it like dew on grass. Like it just kind of forms. And they've also never connected star jelly to illness, but I want to show you what star jelly looks like.
Oh.
Almost exactly the same as those gelatinous blobs. Blobs.
Yes, it does look like a blob.
So, some people think maybe it was star jelly. And maybe the timing of people getting sick was just a coincidence. Maybe it just so happened that we had an illness go through the town. Overall, I think, what's your theory? Because like I said, this happened in 1994, never happened again.
Do you know if there were any, before I lock in my theory, do you know if there were any long-term effects or if there were any babies born a year later with birth defects?
Not to my knowledge. I didn't really look into that.
I feel like it would have said in your research. I think it looks a lot like this star jelly stuff. I'd like to see star jelly under a microscope to see if it has any.
That's true.
Of the same matching DNA as a blob.
Right. I put my theory before I found out about star jelly was aliens. Now that we know, like we didn't already know about aliens.
Right.
I'm sorry, that seems very plausible to me. Call me a conspiracy theorist as well, but maybe the aliens were dropping their
wads.
Blue rain. What did they call it? Blue light. Maybe the aliens were dropping their blue lights.
I was thinking more like they were having like a sexcapade up there.
Okay. No, yeah, they're clear eyes. So
now it's clear eyes.
Yeah, if it's from the aliens,
that's true.
So that is really the end of my vibe for the Oakville blobs. But I did truly find that. I was doing research for something else and stumbled on that. I was like, that's weird.
That is interesting.
That seems fake. But I looked it up and found an article on like Discovery.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, okay, this is enough information that has me intrigued that I'll do an episode on it. So I was looking at other articles, and then it was on Unsolved Mysteries.
Dang.
So this is a thing that really happened. Maybe it didn't happen, and they're just telling us it happened to see if we'll freak out or something.
I'm a little freaked out. I'm interested, though. I'm going to look into it, too. I
Yeah.
might try to watch the Discovery episode or the Unsolved Mysteries episode, because that's weird.
Oakville blobs, not blobs.
Okay, Oakville
Blobs.
blobs.
If you look up Oakville,
First thing that comes up is blobs.
yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
Huh.
That's all I got.
That's amazing, Katie. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching another episode of What's the Vibe with Katie and Amy. A little bit of a heads up. We might be out 1 week. I do have to travel out of state for some personal business. I don't know why I wanted to say it like that.
Okay, Sean Connery.
This is Sean Connery traveling for business. Wait,
the Terminator.
But give us 1 week and then we'll be
Yes.
back at it. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, invite your bestie to enjoy this chaos.